careful of those island boys. Little girl, use your head. They will tear you up like a paper toy. Oh, no, no, no. Yeah, 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 yeah. Oh, no, no, no. When they smile at you, darling, and wink, it's a lethal force that'll bring you down. Trying to get you tipsy like a drink. Love drunk girls all over.
Hi, I'm Amanda.
And I'm Rumbi.
Welcome to
It's Layered. We're in a long distance friendship that started nearly 20 years ago when we were in high school.
We'll be talking about all things life, love, family, anything and everything else under the sun.
Delve deeper with us, because in life, you know, zvinemalayers.
Hello, so welcome back. We were discussing family, and we obviously thought it might get too long.
Yeah.
So definitely have to do this in stages, in layers, because zvinemalayers. So Ruby, let's just go straight back into it. Does your family understand you, do you think?
Hey, I feel you just went in for the jugular.
I went straight in.
I think that has been one of the struggles of my life, is feeling misunderstood by my family, whether it's extended or nuclear. I feel like my parents get a portion of me in some way, like that, you know, I was the loud, the creative, the one who would sing, the one, you know, they get certain aspects of me, which I think family is supposed to. But other things, I've always just been like, really? Like, am I from this family? Y'all don't get this? Like, why don't you understand that? And I think one of the things my family struggles with is probably how I like to communicate. I want to say, I want us to talk, and I want us to be honest. But as we spoke about in the previous episode, like with Zim families, you know, there's not always room for discussion. And I'm not someone who does very well with do this because I said so. It doesn't really work very well with me. So yeah, it's touch and go there. Often felt misunderstood, but that's just in general, not even just with family. I think with friends, like in society, like that's been like the bane of my existence, to be honest. And for you, do you think your family understands you?
I feel like everyone but my family understand me. I don't feel misunderstood, like, but my family definitely misunderstand me. like I just feel like, okay, sorry, I gotta get it together. But
get it together,
like
girl.
For me personally, it's like, I'm not usually overly emotional, but I feel like I know, I'm conscious that in a Zim household, I don't have a voice, right? So I feel stifled. And then when I feel stifled, everything is like bubbling under the surface.
Yes.
So if you poke it, it just like comes out. And then when it comes out, I seem emotional. I seem soft. I seem like I'm just a crier. But it's also because like, it's also tied into my love language, and I'm sure we'll go into this in other episodes about love languages, but like for me it's words. So like, because we don't communicate, because we're told not to communicate, because we don't have a voice, it's like working against me.
Everything.
So like, that's why I feel like, and I think once my dad even said in a statement, like when we're in our discussions, and he's like, I feel like you're better off with Matorwa, you know, foreigners, people who are not in the family, because I think he thought I come across as closer to everyone else but family, which in its sad way is probably true, but that's because they let me speak, you know, they let me be, they let me communicate, they let me, and because of the way it is, it's like, and also I feel like my family probably think I do the most. Like, I think they just think, why can't you just be normal? Why can't you
calm down, take a seat,
Like, even in doing this podcast, I'm pretty sure a lot of them are like gearing up to just ask me why. Like, not in a, it's almost like a, I feel personally, it's almost like a put down. Like, like, we do these things at this level, that's not for you. You know, like they put these boundaries and I'm constantly breaking through them. And because I am, then I seem weird. Because it's like, why? Why are you doing this? Why are you? And then also, I think because I don't conform, and then I am very misunderstood. So, you know, I have a piercing on my face, my tetes are always like, what is that? Like, what are you doing to your beautiful face, you know? Meanwhile, I'm like expressing myself.
Yeah, exactly. That's so funny. Wow. Yeah.
It's just weird.
Yeah.
How supportive is your family with your endeavors? You know, we're just talking about the podcast.
My family is supportive of endeavors that they deem to look good to them, like our family will look good, and to society and their friends, and you know how they want to be portrayed. So they will support anything I do as long as it looks like what they feel I'm supposed to be doing. That being said, when I do things that are on the other end of what they think I should be doing, it's very problematic. And I feel maybe something that's common in Zim families is, I don't know, maybe not, is control, to be like, this is what you're supposed to do. You need to do it like this, not like, you know, what you're doing. So and I think if you're going to get good grades, you're going to get a good job, do what you're supposed to, then 100%, if it's according to the timeline structure they want, totally fine. But anything outside of those bounds, and unfortunately, I'm kind of like, you know, like you, I have big ideas, I have things I want to do, you know, I'm just really in my own kind of world. And similar to being misunderstood, a lot of those endeavors are misunderstood. And it's problematic because family triggers a lot, similar to you. Like, you become emotional. Like, normally I'm a rational person, I can deal with things, I'm cool, I can do things. But family has a button that they know how to press.
Yes.
And when that button is pressed, it's like really, really hard and frustrating. So in a nutshell, it depends on how it looks for them, or if it's according to what they want me to do. And what about you? Do you feel like
I would say I co-sign. I'm right there with you. Maybe that's why we get each other, Rimbi, because sounds like we come from the same. You get me. You get me. But like, it's just crazy for me because I feel like my family is quite religious, very religious. Like, even I think I spoke about the WhatsApp group that we have in the previous episode for the whole extended family, as many people in that group as WhatsApp can handle. And it's called Psalm 133, you know, so that's a Bible
wow,
verse.
That's the name of the group.
That's the name of the group. So it just shows you the level of, you know, and I love that, because sometimes I feel like I've got prayer warriors behind me, you know. I'm standing on the shoulders of people who were on their knees praying, you know, to get to where I am. And I understand that. I see that. I love that. You know, even when I went to come to Australia initially, Zim, as we keep talking about, economically was just not the best place to try out a dream. But, you know, a lot of my aunts were like, I will pray for you. And, you know, I believe in that. I do. But at the same time, now when I want to do my endeavors, I feel like I have to come under that church umbrella, you know? So if I was like, I want to be a praise and worship singer in the church, I want to do the Bible verses, I want to collect.
They'll be like, yes.
Oh, that would be like, I'm a golden child, look at her. You know, if I married a pastor, they would have been like, hallelujah. Like, that's just, whereas my life is completely not that. Not that I don't, I love to sing, I love praise and worship in the church and all that, but I also don't necessarily feel the need to be front runner with a lot of events happening. I used to participate, obviously, every Sunday, or Saturday, depending on your church background, to go to church. was quite
Yeah.
the norm.
Yeah.
And I used to go, of course you had no choice, you go. But then like, I feel like because my endeavors don't align with that, so similar to you, then it's like anything else I'm doing, they're not really going to be there for it unless
Totally.
it ties in what they want. So it's almost like, why don't you do this? You know, oh yeah, that's great. Why don't you do this? But it's like, no, I don't want to do that. I'm doing this. So to say they're supportive, I don't even know if they're listening to this podcast. So that's probably a big answer to you. That, you know, and it's okay. It's okay.
Yeah,
You can't be there for everything. You can't be there for everything. I'm also not to some people. I also choose the stuff I'm interested in. Some of my cousins are really into fashion. So obviously we talk a lot about that.
Yeah.
Some aren't, so we don't, you know, so it just depends on also what your interests are.
Yeah.
But generally not if they don't align.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. Definitely. Do you think you tell them your dreams, like, or plans or things you want to do for yourself, like before you started your business, or, you know, is that something you share with your family?
I used to, probably with my dad when I was younger, but I don't know if I was doing that to seek a backbone or like a support system, not necessarily like advice. It was more like, just like, so you know, but then also like, so you know, and I can also like have a bit of permission from you, because at that age I felt like I had to have their support. But now as you live away from home and you do more and more things on your own, so to speak, I don't seek that from them. So I tend not to really, I'll tell them after the plan's been done. Like when the podcast was done, I was like, oh yeah, the podcast, guys, have a listen. But it's not as if I went to them before it and said, do you think
to ask for permission? Yeah.
No, not really. And because again, my dreams, my plans, a lot of them don't align.
Yes.
It's then it's like, well, I mean, people who say when you're launching a business or whatever, you need to look for a mentor, you need to look for someone who aligns with what you're doing. And because I don't have that necessarily in my family, then there was never really a need to delve deeper into what I'm doing.
Yes, I'm with you. I'm with you. And
what about for you?
I think for me, I struggled with learning not to have to share initially. I think because in an African home, especially as a daughter, it's kind of like you belong to your parents until you belong to your husband, and feeling a need to always report back, and you're told you answer to your parents. So I would, and then I, you know, got heartbroken a couple of times. So then I just was like, maybe I don't have to. Yeah, exactly. As an adult. So I've learned to kind of hold back and kind of share when it was necessary or the point of that change, similar to you. So over time, it's become like, okay, I'll share when I've done something, or, you know, it's kind of been planned out. But yeah, that's...
So you don't feel like you lean to them for advice?
Not anymore. Yeah, because I think, like you said earlier, like we said, that I think I see the world differently to some of my family. Like, it's just like, are we like on the same page? And a lot of things we're just not. We just don't see. I do definitely lean on like my sister. Like, we're very close and we see things similarly but different too. So her perspective always brings something new. So I definitely lean on her. But like talking about like my parents and other family, I just think we have different viewpoints. And so it's like you'd have to convince them of your viewpoint and then convince them of like the thing you want to do. And nobody's got energy to do that when you're trying to figure out something you want to do for yourself. If that makes sense. Yeah. Do you
and you don't need to seek permission.
Yes. So. Yeah. But do you find like you go to them for any advice? Like if it's about something you endeavor to do, or kind of just like...
It depends. It really does depend. I think also because I left Zim at the turn of becoming an adult.
Yes.
It's also like, initially I did, very much so when I was in uni, when I was starting uni, I kind of did and when I finished uni, because I felt like I also was trying to figure it out. So it was like the more voices I had in my head. But now as I've gained my confidence, gained my voice more and more, it's less and less so, especially because they don't live in Australia. So it's not like they know, like if I wanted to get a house
outs. Yeah, they don't know how things work.
It's like they can only tell you generally, but they can't go into the deep dives. And sometimes for some of these things, you need a deep diver. So again, I then think, I'll just tell them generally, this is what I'm planning, this is what I'm doing, but it's not necessarily for advice. But then a couple of times, when everyone else's voices were really loud, like when I was trying to leave Perth to come to Melbourne, whether or not that was going to be a good idea for me, I reached out to my brother, and I was like, don't know Perth, you don't know Melbourne, but you know me. So like, can you help me navigate this? What do you think I should do? Should I stay? Should I go? Hugh Brandy, Rumbi.
Sorry. My bad.
I know my friend so well. But like, it's just like that. So that was good to have him. Yeah. Because then that was the opposite, right? Everyone in Australia was telling me what they think, and then he was now telling me what he sees. So, and then also when I had my breakup, we talked about this in the previous dating episode, it was good to lean on family, because I also felt like I want to go into a fetal position and just be like, cuddle me and talk to me and tell me,
reassure me. Yeah,
and they were the best people to do that, because they're not mutual friends with my ex. They're for me. They stand for me. So it's like pockets. I feel like now I know when to and when not to. And that distinction is important.
It comes with it comes with age, and it comes with like getting wiser and kind of for sure.
How important is it to you though that you can lean or cannot lean on them?
I think maybe I'm just in a phase where I need to learn to lean on me, like to be confident in me. So at present, it's not playing that big of a deal. I think definitely when I go into the different stages of my life, like, whether it's, marriage or parenting, or I'll definitely lean on them more in that way, because I've never done it before. But I think for me, it's okay. It's okay for me to have this space. I'm definitely at that place where I'm like, it's okay to have this space, because I think I spent so much of my life always thinking like, what will they say? What will they think? Is this okay? Is this okay? And I cheated myself of a lot of time in that way. So now I'm like, it's okay. It's fine. And yeah, definitely I know I'm going to lean on them for other things. Or, and there are definitely things that I lean on them about. Like if I want to learn more about like our family, our history, like I did our family tree once, and definitely, talk to them. Do you get what I mean? Or understanding cultural things, or definitely. Yeah. If there was one thing that you would never want to change about your family, because I think the whole precept, like the concept of family it's just complex. That's what family is. It's layered, right? It's never really straightforward. What would be the one thing that you would never want to change that is so beautiful or so like integral to who your family is, that you love the most? Like, what would you say that
I think the connection to God, being godly. I think, as much as I was seeming like I'm bashing it, I love that. I love that we can come together and like that support in that way is there. Like the prayers, when they say I'm praying for you, it's legit. It is there. It's legit. It's not just a prayerful family. I feel like I would not change that. Some people might think, this can be inconvenient or buzzkill, or but like for me, it makes me feel at peace. That like it really, despite the complexities, despite everything, at the heart of it, at the core of it, we have those Christian values that seemingly hold us together. So like I feel like without that, it will just be scatter, like everyone will just do whatever they want. But like it kind of like brings
reins everyone in, like
brings everyone in. And like even when I was doing my Rora, you know, I leaned a lot on that, similar to how you were talking about culture and everything. So I didn't know, I needed guidance. And then also them being level-headed, because Rora, when we go into Rora, we'll talk about this more and more. Some people actually end up shouting at each other and
for sure,
breaking up that day, you know, because families just won't see eye to eye. But I think because they're prayerful, they always are coming from a good space. You know, the execution might be not exactly what I want, but it's always coming from, they're trying to make it work. They're trying to let God's will be done. So I feel like it helps kind of lead us when we go astray, which is exactly
I'm with you.
For me, that's the biggest thing. And
that's
for you?
Beautiful. I think I have like two, which sounds weird. The first thing that came to my mind was like laughter. And it sounds a bit random, but like when I think of like family gatherings, I just think of laughter. And especially on my mom's side, they all have like this loud belly laugh, like, you know, and when we're together, and just like how everyone just kikis. And I think that's it, because at the end of the day, after all you go through as family, it's like to be able to laugh and just like talk to each other and have that. There's something really comforting, and it reminds me of being home, reminds me of Christmas, reminds me of like family. I think that's probably like, that's the first thing that instinctively came to my mind, because I think through it all, you have to laugh, because family goes through a whole myriad of things, and you've gotta, you know. And then the second thing, I chose one out of failed this comprehension test. The second thing,
that's the one Rumbi.
I would have failed. Be like, hey, do you understand the question? But I think a bit of the global perspective. I think our parents have a global view, but they rein it in because of where they are. Like the Zim is very like holding down. It really like suppresses a lot. I feel like our parents have a global view, but they have to like rein it in for the context of where they are. But ultimately, like, you know, if I look at my father, and how he moved our family around for work, that really opened my mind up and has been instrumental to who I am. Him studying, like, you know, my parents studying abroad through scholarships and just like things like that, and even extended family. I think it's just really gave me an appreciation of like, the world is not where you are, it's what you make of it. I don't know how to explain it. So yeah. And what about you? What if there's one thing you could change?
Oh, girl, one. Okay, no, one. I'll stick to one.
Yes.
That's the question.
Because Ruby's failing the test.
If there's one thing, I would probably say open communication.
Yeah.
Because I feel like then that stems into everything else. If you're open to communicate, then you would show up for events. You would be supportive. You would give adequate advice. You would like just, because sometimes I think things just happen in the family and it's like, oh, okay, well, that's what we're doing now. Okay. Oh, they're married now. Oh, okay, she's pregnant. Oh, she's like, you just roll with it. That's like literally the motto of my family. Just things are happening, just roll with it.
Get on with it,
Yeah, you never really get a chance to like express your feelings, whether they're happy. I mean, happy ones, people are always eager to hear. But when they're not so happy, people are like, and then when it's something that's not so happy, I feel like that's the times when we need to communicate. But then that's the times when we actually don't. You know, people are just told, this happened with Uncle Ningi. Oh, this is what's happening. Oh, that's his new wife. Oh, that's his... Oh, okay.
And you're like, whoa, that's a lot of information to take in.
Yes.
Thank you.
And especially for me, because it's almost like, because I'm far away, then they might not, maybe they do communicate and I just don't get kept in the loop. But then when I go home, it's almost expected that I should have known. Like, how do you not know? This happened with Dara, you know, a long time ago. You know, and it's like, well, no one told me. How am I meant to know? And it like breeds a lot of secrecy. It breeds a lot of like shame almost. So it's just like, we don't need that. You know, we actually just openly talked. And went, whoa, okay, that's what happened. That's weird. Like, I feel, I don't know. Maybe I'm too new age with it, but again, it plays into the patriarchal thing, you know, you can't be.
You just do what you're told, yeah.
Yeah, you can't be talking about your uncles in a bad light or your father or your parents. It plays against all those typical things you talked about in a household when you say you want open communication.
Yeah.
Because then they have to take on, or at least hear, what you gotta say. And
they ain't here for it. Yeah, they ain't here for it.
So
do you feel it's influenced even like how you've approached your own family now being married? And like, do you get what I mean? Like being like, okay, now I need to make sure I have open.
Yeah. Oh no, definitely. Like I feel like at this stage, my husband and I definitely have a lot of open communication.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want it to change. And I feel like, if I set the bar there, then hopefully we just keep it there.
Yeah.
But I feel like with my family, it's almost like, we don't talk about that.
Yes.
So it's like, there's always that sense of, and I don't think that's only pertaining to my family. I think that's with a lot of Zimbabwean families. Things just happen and just roll with it.
Yeah,
you don't
get on
get
with
time
it.
to discuss and dissect and break it down. You just, if you're told, you're told. If you're not, you just find out soon enough.
Totally. I think I'm similar to you. I think my parents were the ones who we would have family meetings. We even had a family, it's like a motto that we had and things. So they tried to have the communication, but I think it was only to, like, the door is only slightly open, if that makes sense.
Okay.
And one-sided, you know. So I also would like open communication, but understanding, and let's listen to understand. And I feel like it's not always the case. It's always like, I want to put my point across. I want to be in the right. And for me, that's what I would kind of change, because honestly, and we know pretty much all the problems in the world often stem from not communicating or not being willing to communicate and understand effectively. So yeah, I'm totally with it.
What did you learn about marriage from your parents? Apart from lovely meetings.
I don't know. I think I learned that marriage is definitely not like what it is in the movies from my parents. 110%. I really learned that it really is a commitment that you have to think about, you know, because it's lifelong, or hopefully. And also I learned that a lot of things I didn't want for myself through my parents, which is sad, but it's the truth and the reality of like seeing things. I think speaking on communication, it's just like, it's just certain things I want to do differently, you know. And I mean, they probably felt the same about their parents, right? About certain things they did. Like, I want to do it differently. So I learned a lot of that. And even with my extended family, learning like what I don't want. And at some point I was like, I don't know if I believe in marriage. Like I was at that point, because I feel like the Zim love story is a painful one. It's like marriage often equates to pain and hardship, and you've got to power through, and and I get that you have to work through things, and like anything in life, whether it's work, friendships, whether it's whatever, it's going to take some work. There will be difficulties, but it felt just like, is this joy? Is there joy? Is it painful? So I definitely learned that. And I also learned like self-sacrifice, like, you know, like do it for the team. You do things for the team. It's not always about you in marriage. And you commit to the family goal as opposed to the personal goal. So yeah, it's intense. What do you think you learned?
I've seen my dad in 2 marriages.
Yeah. So
I guess for me, with my mom, what I learned was that it can be fun. My parents love to travel. They love to have people over.
Yeah.
We like traveled a lot when we were kids within Zimbabwe, especially.
Yeah.
Which I now really hold dear.
Absolutely.
Because I feel like a lot of people aren't getting that opportunity, you know. We used to go to Vic Falls as if it's just like,
ain't a thing.
But now sometimes Yeah, so sometimes I think, so when I meet someone who's never been in the Zimbabwe, and I'm like, what?
Yes.
Because like to me it's so, but then
Yes.
now I'm only realizing now how much of a privilege that was, that they made it a priority, that we work hard, but we play hard. So like, you know, when holidays came, we always had something that we were up to, always had something. We were like busybodies. And I think that's probably stemmed from my adult life. I'm always up to something. So I liked seeing that. And like, they were like high school sweethearts. So I guess that typical story is like, you know, that actually can happen.
Yeah, you know,
for
so
sure. It's sweet to see that.
Yes.
And then obviously in his marriage now, I think what I'm learning is that it's not always hot, passionate fire.
Yeah.
You know, when it comes to marriage, that companionship goes
a long way. Way.
Like, I don't get that vibe that it's like, you know, oh my gosh, sparks flying everywhere. But I get that vibe that they're happy and content with their little like life and their little things they get up to, you know, and they for their church meetings and meeting up with their church buddies. Like, I feel like they're just living their little life. And it's like, I kind of like that. Because I think also similar to you, what you see on the TV screens can be like, you know, ripping each other's clothes off and like, oh my God, you're the best thing, the sexiest. Big, right? And with them, it's more like a quiet contentment. Almost like this is my friend, you know, and I can respect that. I can respect that because I'm like, wow, you know, it's not just about the fireworks.
It's not about the turn up and fireworks. I'm with you.
So I think I have seen both from him, and maybe some of it also has to do with age. Obviously, when he was younger, and then now he's older, maybe that's why. I'm with you. It's a takeaways for me anyway. It's definitely takeaways. When it comes to physical affection, you know, I'm talking about ripping clothes off. What did you learn from your parents? What do you think? Huh?
I think I learned like they started like as we got older, they would peck each other on the lips, like when my dad was going to work. Like that was like, okay, you pecked before. That's about it, girl. Like there's not much. You know what I mean? Like I don't know. Like question, what? Like literally. I used to be that person, like, why are you touching me? Type of person, like, you know, like, no. But I don't know. I didn't learn much. Like, and did you learn?
I'm exactly this. I learned nothing. Nothing. I actually think when it came to the birds and the bees and sex and all that, you learn at school. You know, Mrs. Yes. That's where you learn. Like
100%. 100%.
Did not get that. That was not for my parents at all. And even now when I see them being affectionate, it's just like,
what is going on?
What is happening? You know, so definitely did not learn anything in that space. I mean, my dad will like hug me like every once in a while, but it's like a moment, you know, it's like it doesn't feel natural. It feels like a moment when he does it. So definitely like, I just think as Africans,
it's not really our thing. And I think my mom is quite affectionate. Like she hugs with her whole like self. Like I don't know how to explain it. And I remember sometimes when we were young, like my sister sitting on her lap or like sitting next to her, and like sometimes she would stroke me. But that was like a special moment. Like you remember that because it didn't happen all the time, type of thing. But like, I'm with you. Like it's definitely
physical affection is a skip.
Yeah, no. But what have you noticed is becoming more common in Zim families? Like, what is the trend? Because, I mean, I think back maybe our grandparents' era, it was common to have a lot of children and like your children being raised by other families. Does that make sense? Like it was very common, at least how I've seen it. Or like the older sibling taking care of the younger sibling and putting them through school. Like, how do you think, what are some of the ways you feel like family is evolving or what's becoming?
I feel like that still happens. That still is a common thread where you take older sibling, younger sibling, you take care of each other. Financially, all of that stuff. But then I also feel like materialism is becoming quite common in families. And I don't know, and I I'm very optimistic, and I just blame that on the situation in Zim in terms of economics, because I feel like now it's all about being seen, having the money, doing this, like more so. Like, I just feel like there's a big drive, and that's why when we touched a little bit on Rora before, people then have conflict, it's because they think they need more money, they need more this, more that. And it's just becoming, that Ubuntu we talked about in the first episode is like getting lost a little bit, because now people are seeking personal gain all the time. Absolutely. And like, I'm just like, we never used to like even saying that blood's thicker than water, it holds true. But now I feel like these days it's more like, you know, it's just okay, you don't have to be. Like, I don't know. I just feel like yes. We're becoming more, almost maybe more Western and more individualistic instead of keep upholding that. And that's
definitely a Zim thing. It's like, it's a reflection of the current state of the country, economically especially. But I definitely get a strong sense of, I'm good. I don't care if you are not. And I'm gonna make sure I'm okay and take care of me and that kind of thing. And that's definitely shifted in a big way too, like how families operate. And I think obviously something which has become so evident is families being like split apart. Like, you know, that's become a trend. Like, you know, I was fortunate that my family was able to stay in Zim together. We lived together. But a lot of families, you'd hear someone like the mom's working overseas and, you know, they're here in Zim, she's sending money over. And it's just like literally families being separated and torn apart. And it's just like, really, it's a mind. Like, imagine as a child, like, because of this, it's like a mind F. It's like, whoa, like, why do we need to? I think that's another thing, that's how we've shifted a lot. And also, I feel like we don't get together as much anymore. It's not a thing. And I don't know if it's because people are just busy trying to survive, or, you know, we can't afford. So now funerals and weddings are the gathering, the meeting point. That's when people meet and catch up. It's that. So it's crazy.
Yeah, it's so crazy. Like, it's so sad actually that we're pulled apart by something that wasn't necessarily our choice. You know, but then it's like, it is shaping society. You know, so like now I feel like even with me living in Diaspora, they probably just see you as like an ATM. You know, someone to just not really pick up on me, not really find out how I'm doing, just becoming very common. And I think people in Diaspora can probably relate to this. And I understand it. Because if I have to feed my kids, I'm going to try every single avenue that's available to me, of course. But then the other side of that coin is that then you're like, this is meant to be my family, someone I can reach out to and chat to. Not necessarily talk about sending money. You know, not necessarily talk about supporting, not necessarily someone you're meant to just have a laugh with and enjoy their company. But that's changing more and more. It's almost like there's a black tax, you know, you have you left, you have to pay back to the people who stayed back. And it's becoming so prevalent, not only in Zimbabwe, in pretty much the whole of Africa. You know, a lot of it is held up by remittance, you know, Western Union, the remits and the mukurus, like everything, because that's the only way they can survive. But I feel like it's stemming even deeper into how the families even connect with each other. You know, because they only hear from you when you want money. Then are we really family? That's the thing.
It's become transactional. Very transactional. That's deep. I'm with you.
And I think like the economy as well, like going into it even deeper, delving deeper, is like the rise of small houses, you know. People, and to those who don't know what a small house is, it's pretty much a mistress, and then you set up a whole other family. There's blessers as well, so these are like pretty much sugar daddies, and they pretty much support you financially. Again, because of the economic situation, this is becoming more prevalent and more accepted. Like I remember when we were kids, people would never talk about it. They'd be like, you know, you know, oh, that happened. But now it's like, you know, it's just like this
Those are
common-
ziri, that's what it is. Yeah.
Like at the funeral of the dad, maybe the other family would just all of a sudden appear. But now it's like, it doesn't even need to take the funeral. You can appear before the funeral. All of a sudden, you got siblings everywhere that you never knew about.
Yeah.
So,
but I think
I
think a lot of not just Zim, but African children would not be surprised, like finding out, oh, by the way, you have this, and it used to be, like you said, rightly so, at funerals, where it's like, oh, there's another family. Like, I don't think anyone will be truly shocked anymore, which is like sad.
No.
But now it's become, they get integrated into the family, maybe when the kid is young or a little old, like now it's like integration. So there's definitely blended families in the African context, which is just like, you know, I set up my own little something on the side and it's okay.
And accept it.
Yes.
No time for discussion.
Why are you upset? Why are you mad though? Why are you mad? Like, it's a big, I think it's a big, big thing. And almost because of the financial, often where the man has a financial power in the relationship, the woman has no recourse and just has to like sit and deal with it. And even where family comes to the point of saying, but he's taking care of you. I don't know who why are you mad? Like he's taking care of you. And so kind of like losing any sort of like kind of recourse or be like, no, that ain't right.
And exactly. You don't have rights when it comes to it. It's like you just accept or, you know, adapt or die. That's literally what it is.
And wouldn't you, I think for me, I don't know if it's an evolution, but something that is also like a lot of domestic violence. I feel like that's also a thing in Zim families and African families and often stemming from financial pressures, often stemming from like alcohol issues and the patriarchy we've spoken about. And that also all comes in because of the state of our country, the state of like how we've been raised. And I feel like even young people in young marriages experiencing violence, domestic violence, and also women paying back now. That's also becoming a thing where you read in the news, the woman castrated her man because he was tired, or women cheating more. It's becoming more of a thing that's happening.
Especially if you don't have the financial standing, she'll cheat on you.
Yeah, exactly. So it's now getting like to each his own. I think people are fed up. And I think also, there's a tension. It's a high strung environment. So people are highly strung and like, so they will do whatever they want. I don't know if you, I feel like
I completely agree.
Where it's also going, a little bit.
It's like we all need therapy. We all need our country fixed, first of all, and then we need therapy after.
Everybody.
We have changed and morphed into, again, tying back into the Ubuntu. That's not Ubuntu, it's dog eat dog, you know?
Yeah, it's a dog eat dog world for sure.
It's not, so like, it's very complex, zvinemalayers upon layers, because everyone's just trying to survive, and then it's just tying into the way families are represented. And you spoke on, you know, mothers going overseas maybe to look for a better life, and then when they leave, maybe their husbands setting up another family. Maybe when they get there, they find someone else. Just become, and because we don't have open communication within our families, it's like people are just hurting. It's like we're all walking around with our own dramas
and whatnot. For sure.
We need a lot of work to happen, but it's
zvinemalayers. And I think it's also translated just similarly how it's like just get on, deal, adapt. We've had to because of the state of our nation, and so diaspora has become a very real thing. And the separation, you know, also now with us as young adults or the children of our parents, like being displaced and being separated as a result, it's become, I think a lot of us know someone or have family members who are abroad and family kind of, set apart because of circumstance. And I think for me, the saddest thing is for that to be normalized is a very sad thing because, when COVID hit, I think when you're in this diaspora, it hits you even harder because you don't even have like, oh, I'm just going to run home to, you know, be with my family and quarantine with them. It's like, man, am I alone? Yeah. So that's
when you can't reach out to your friends, or
Yes.
if your friends are family of their own.
Yeah.
And now you're like, oh, I really am an other. You know? So
it really hits you hard. So
and not only that, the jobs. You know, like a lot of people lost jobs during COVID, and then you need those jobs so you can keep yourself and also
your
the
family sustained.
So all of this is just like a big domino, and we definitely want to hear from people on this whole big topic and what they think, because it's complex.
Zvinemalayers,
and everyone has their own version of normal in this complexity. They just make it work and try. You know. Try survive and try, you know, be happy at the end of the day with whatever their families are going through. It'd be quite interesting to hear what.
Definitely. I think we've been now groomed to survive. Survival is the name of the game, and you do it at all costs, and it's unfortunate, but please share some of your like learnings, what you've experienced. Talk to us about family, how that's changed, like anything, you know, we really just want to hear about that. And how do you think the future of Zimbabwean families is going to look? Like, wow, that's, anyway.
Because I mean, another big thing we need to probably revisit is, as much as we are now separated, we're also now starting families with people from other cultures. So are we going to lose our Zimbabweanness? Or are we, you know, where are we headed? What do people think? And what do people think of that? Because I see a lot of people have kids, like in the UK, I have our cousins with kids there that don't speak Shona. They have Shona names, but they don't even know how to pronounce their own names. And it's like things like this. How does this all tie in? I'm quite keen to hear from people.
Is our culture becoming obsolete? Or I was talking to someone the other day and I was like, or maybe we get stuck in the idea that culture is stagnant or that it's static, where rather it's dynamic. But what is that going to look like? Okay. With some, I see you go.
You delved deeper, Ruby.
Wow, awesome. So thank you so much for tuning in. As always, let us know your thoughts and comments. We are on Instagram. It's layered is our handle, itslayered, and our email, it's layeredpod, itslayeredpod@gmail.com. So hit us up, let us know, and we will see you next time.
We want to hear from you. Bye.
Yes, bye.